Hey everyone, thank you for coming back to the channel. Greatly appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about V-flats, customizing, and do-it-yourself V-flats. And today we're going to learn how I did my white ones yesterday. I'm going to show you how I did the black ones today. So if anybody that knows V-flats and you're trying to figure it out, the most important thing is the fold. So stay tuned. All right, everyone, I'm going to show you the white one for right now. I'm going to slide that out of the way. If you open it up like a V, that's what it stands up like. And when you open it up, you've got one flap that comes up like this, one flat that comes up like this. Go around the back side. I've got two Velcro pieces on the back side over here. We're going to open it up like a V. Done. Just like that. The fold is going to be the most important part to this whole thing. How you fold it, where you tape it makes the fold. So I just did the white ones yesterday. I'm going to show you how to make the black ones. So watch how easy it is to take it out. So you're going to go around to the back side over here. For me, I've got one piece. I've got three pieces of Velcro. You're going to drop one side down, fold it back around. All said and done. So these are from Home Depot. I bought this at Home Depot. It is 32 inches by 40 inches. So it is 32 across and 40 high. So when you tape these, you got to make sure you go in the right direction because you don't want to accidentally make it the other way because it ends up being not tall enough for people. So it ends up being 6 foot 8 inches high. Now I'm 5'7". So anything above 6 foot is fine. Now this is good. Once you build these right here, do it yourself. These are 80 inches high, so that's 6 foot 8 inches. Unless you're photographing an NBA player, I don't think it's going to be an issue. And the purpose behind this is either to use for fill light or backlight or anything like that, plus flags or moving things out of the way or blocking things. So 6 foot 8, I think, is a really good trade-off. So this is my white one I made yesterday. It took me about half an hour, because the fold is the most important part. So we're going to start with the black one. So I bought four. This is the white. This is the black. I've got four pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3/16 inch thick, 32 by 40. And what I did was I started with putting 2 and 2 together like this. I've got 2 on each side right here, and I went and folded it like this. Okay, so now what I want to do, this cost me, the white was $28 with tape. The black is $38 without tape. Why black is more expensive, I don't know. But in the cost of the whole scheme of things, it's going to be worth it because I already had the black tape at home. So I've got my black tape right here. So before I go any further, I want to talk to you guys about the quote for the day. So my quote for the day is, be bigger than your excuses. Man, that is so true. Your excuses are going to be sometimes so overwhelming. But at the end of the day, you got to be bigger than that. You got to be stronger than that. You got to be above that to get through and push through. Don't give up. Keep fighting. Keep pursuing. Keep pressing through. And at the end of it, you'll be so much happier that you did. So remember, be bigger than your excuse. This is the black tape that I already had at my house. So what I'm going to do here is I've got 2 pieces on each side, and this is going to be my V. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 pieces out of the way. And I'm going to, for right now, kind of toss them up over there, up over there. This is going to be my V. Now, you have to visualize how this is going to fold. I already know because I did it yesterday, so I'm showing you. You're going to put one on each side of you like this, and you're going to stand in front of it. Now, you have to pre-think that your other piece is going to be flopping down this side, and your other piece is going to be flopping down this side. So both sides are going to come up this way here, okay? But these have to be taped right here first. So this is my 64 inches wide. And then when I put the other one on top of this, the other 2 on top of this, when I put the other 2 on top of this, if you can get a helper, that would be very helpful. you're going to end up being like this. So right now we are like this. So that tells me my V has to flop like this. So see what I'm doing right here? Pause the video if you have to. So see what I'm doing? I'm going like this. And if I close this and I open this, when I'm standing in here like this one's going to flop down this way here, and this one's going to flop down. So both of these are going to come up this way here. So I have to take these and I have to make what's called a hinge. So I already did it yesterday, and I already had to uncut it and retape it a second time. And getting the tape off of this stuff is not pretty. It actually peels the paper off, and you can actually ruin it. So I had to do it twice, so don't make my mistake. So this is going to be my V. So if I'm standing it this way here, this is 40 inches up and down. This is 32 inches wide. So I'm going to take these two like this, and this is how I'm going to be, where I'm going to be my V. So I want to make my hinge on the back side right here. So now I'm going to put these two together, and now I'm 32 inches high, so that automatically went down. So now I'm just going to turn it sideways, because what I'm going to do now, get a helper, very helpful. Got my knife. I am going to open that up, and I'm going to tape. This tape is black Gorilla duct tape. It doesn't matter what kind of tape you do, just make sure it's wide, because that's going to be the most important thing. Some people will show you that sometimes you have to put a space between the gap and then tape it. It allows for that hinge. I didn't do that, and I'm going to show you why I didn't do that. It's only 3/16 thick. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that these two are inwards, and I'm going to just turn it around. Be careful, because sometimes they have a little bit of a curve to them. All right, see that? I don't know if you could see that in there, but there's a little bit of a curve to it. So this is where I want to be. I'm going to be like this. And now, when you forget what you're doing before you start taping, this is my V. These are going to flop up. So this is going to be here. Now I want to tape this side right here. So now keep that gap really, really tight. I don't know if you can see on that. It's only 3/16 thick, so look at that part right there. So when you focus on that, so now what I want to do is I want to have a helper. That's the third time I've said that. I learned the hard way. So what I want to do, there's a lot of thinking behind this. So what I want to do is I want to make it even with the end, and I'm going to put my piece together, and I'm going to spread the tape from both sides evenly down. Now the most important thing that I screwed up yesterday on, sometimes the Gorilla tape or any kind of tape is very, very tight. So if you can pre-cut these with a tape measure, do it. I did not. You know why? Because I'm sometimes lazy when it comes to, I can do it myself. You got to keep the foam core board together. That is the most important thing, because if you don't, and this tape is really, 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 as you can see, fussy. My suggestion is cut your pieces 32 inches long, or actually this is 42 inches long. But either way that you do it, get a helper. All right, so now press the top of the board together, and then split your tape onto both sides. Take off that little bit, bring it off. Be careful, because you don't want to go too far, and you don't want to go over the edge, because you can't have anything hanging off of the edge. So cut it right to the end of the board. Okay? And then before you commit to this, make sure somebody is underneath pressing both sides. You're going to put your fingers down both sides, and you're going to slide your fingers down the side just like that. Now, if it's not together, you're going to leave a gap there, and then it leaves bubbles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push together with my fingers, slide the tape down the side. And on one of mine yesterday, I didn't align the tape correctly, and it was a little bit longer on one side, and it really doesn't matter. You can have a ½ inch on one side and half an inch on one side, 1.5 inches on the other, as long as it covers over the gap. So what I did here is, if you can focus on that right there, let me get my face out of the way. So this part right here is now my hinge. I pressed it together, so if you don't press it together, you end up a little bit of a space, and you don't want that. You want to press it together so that it's tight like that. So that's what you end up getting like that. So now my first hinge is done, and you're going to press especially down the seam. All right. Once this is on, there is no getting this crap off. I trim up my end because I don't want to get stuff on my linoleum floor or on a client's floor. If you are, we're going to go on to this next part right here. If you are just making this for your studio and you are not going anywhere with this, you're just about done, because now all you're going to do, there's my hinge. Tape is right down this backside. So if you're using it for fill, negative fill, or using it to block things out, that piece of tape on there is not going to block anything. So even if I wanted to go like this, you can't see that. Okay? So when I go the other way, see what, there's no seam together. If I put it like this, they're literally butt right together. Okay? Now if I go with the inside, see that little white line down the middle where the hinge is? You're not going to see that. It's not going to make a difference it's not going to show up in your pictures or anything like that. So I made my hinge. Okay? Now, there's my half the V. If I wanted to now, and if I was making this to leave in my studio and never leave and go anywhere, you're just about done. Because then what you would do is you're going to do this and this. So you're going to tape these two together. So what you would do is, if you're going to make this a permanent one, you're going to tape these two together, just like that. And then you're going to lay this down on the ground. And then you're going to tape these two to that two, and it's done. But I'm going to make mine foldable. So what I want to do now is I want to make this so that it's like this. And I'm going to take this so that it's like this. These two do not get taped together. So remember that. These two get taped to these two. So one more time. These two get taped to these two. So you're going to make one big foldable unit. Okay? So now my hinge is up, my tape is on the outside over here. And now here's my extra two pieces right here. So now if you were to envision this, I'm going to put this down because I know it's going to fall. Like this. Let's do this one here because my softbox is in the way. So if this is like this is going to come up here like this. Can picture this on a hinge, just like that. So now, look at that. So now what I'm going to do is you want to go just like that. So now, I'm going to keep this and balance this right here. Now, I'm going to take this. I'm going to figure out which way my curve is. And I'm going to put it inwards. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, the tape will end up being on the inside, which is not a problem. Nobody's going to see it anyways. So, especially on the white one, you're just bouncing light, whether it's a video light or a flash in there anyways, that literally 98% of the surface is white. It's going to reflect right back and it's going to bounce right back. Okay? So you're not going to notice that white line in there unless you're at really low numbers, and that defeats the purpose. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my tape ahead of time, this time, to the length that I need. Sorry for the noises on the Rogue microphone. And I'm going to cut it to the length that I need. So I'm going to pull myself about a ½ inch extra. I can always trim it off afterwards. This is going to be very helpful when it comes to putting these two together now. So now what I want to do is same thing as I did before. I'm going to put these, line them up evenly. Okay? This one has a little bit of a bend on the corner, but it's not going to be anything that's going to be an issue. So you just want to make sure that your starting point is even. So I'm going to start at this end over here. So I'm going to turn this so my back is not towards you. Okay, so we're going to go like this. And we're going to put, I learned this yesterday. I'm going to peel off like a little teensy bit. And I'm going to put it right across. When I get it lined up on the end that I want, I'm going to put one piece here over the top. Pull a little strip off. Now my seam is together at the top. So now, as I go this way here, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my tape. Put this up over my shoulder. I'm going to put this piece of tape right down the middle of that. So I don't know if you can see this. And what I'm doing is I'm pressing together and then pressing down. So I'm pressing together and pressing down. And if I wanted to, I could literally start folding it down right now. But I'm going to go all the way down first. Like that. Don't stick it to your shirt. And then what I'm going to do, because I already know that it's pressed together, the most important thing is I just got to make sure that I keep the board together, and I keep the tape down the middle. It's okay if you're a little bit longer on one side than the other. That's not going to make a difference. It's just a matter of you have to start with a wide enough piece of tape, and this is 2 inches wide, and I'm just folding over the top. All right, so we're going to leave that just like that. That's one. And that's two. Okay? So that little bit of gap in between there, if you don't put it together, the purpose of the gap is to make a hinge. So if the gap is too far, it becomes flimsy at that part. But at this point, just across the bottom, just like that, you'll see a little bit of a space that's supposed to be there. But that's purposely there because of this. Now, if you had a 1/2 inch board or a 1/4 inch board, the gap ends up being bigger. So we're not going to worry about that right now. So now we're going to take this. We're going to go back to this side over here. So I'm going to go pre-cut my pieces. So 1, 2, 3 to right about what I need, right about there. And I'm going to cut that right there. So watch your fingers. All right, cut that off. Then I'm going to do that like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just like probably 2 or 3 strips. I'm going to cut one, okay, and then I'm going to put my tape down for safety purposes, and then I'm going to cut. I can actually just rip this. There's 1, there's 2, and then there is 3. I actually have 4, but we don't need the 4th. So we're going to put these along the edge over here, just like this. And I know you guys can't see, but we're going to tape that like that. So what I'm going to do now is going to line this up. Oh, don't get that on there. So be careful what you stick it to. So I've got a pretty hefty fold on this corner right here. If I would have noticed that, I probably would have made sure that was on my bottom. But I just unfolded it, pressed it together. I'm lined up on the corner over here. First piece of tape, hold it together. I'm going to make sure my corner, I'm going to go back to the middle, press that through right there, hold that together, grab my 3rd piece of tape, do that, hold that together. Now I'm going to grab my long piece, do not stick the duct tape together, just like that. Now we're going to go this way here. So now I'm going to start with, just tack that like that, so that it lines up. I'm going to start with this part right here. So evenly both down the sides, lining up in the middle. Your tape wise, go right down the center again, and right down the center again, and right down the center again. Now from the middle, pull down on both sides. Again, down towards the end, pull down on both sides. And you don't want to leave too much of a bubble on the seam, on the hinge part itself, because if you press down, it sticks, but when you unfold every time, it unsticks. So it's not a big deal. It's not going to hurt anything. But now I've got both sides. So before I open this up and show you, voila, here it is. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Velcro. And what I did was I have 1.5 inch hook and loop. Okay? So I've got 1, 2, 3. So I've got hook and loop. Okay, this is just simple Velcro. That's all you're doing is Velcroing it together. I did 3 parts, and I'm going to show you why I did that. You're dealing with a flimsier kind of material in the 3/16 foam core. Thicker ones probably won't bend as much, and I don't mean flimsy as they're no good, because you're going to see in a minute you're saving yourself a lot of money, so there's a little bit of a trade-off that comes along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 of these, and this could be anything. It could be 1/2 inch thick. This doesn't matter. This is just what I use for my trade shows, so this is what I had. So I have 3 of these, and then I have 3 of these, okay? And you're just going to make like a little bit of a latch. So what I'm going to do now is I don't have to mark this, but I know where it's going, okay? So if I'm going to do the 3 of the, one side has to be taped to the board. Very important. If it's not taped, it's not going to stick. The hook and loop just is going to free float, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm on the back side of this right now. So as you can see, this right here goes all the way up to here. So this is where it's going to end. I'm going to show you that we're going to take One. And we're going to put this on the side right here. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to fold it together. So let's start this over again. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this right here. So there's my foam board right there. So we're going to open this one. And we're going to open this one. So see what I did right there? So now there's my V flat. You can't see me right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to purposely close it. And then I'm going to purposely turn it like this. So now I'm going to open it so that it balances just a little bit. See how it's going to fold over? This is the flimsiness, that part that comes into it. But if you take it however you want to do it, I'm going to do it this way for the sake of being organized. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the hook and loop off. And now what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do it this way. You can just put, you don't need much. I'm just putting a bigger piece longer wise on there so that when I'm doing the Velcro, I want this thing to undo and do 100 times, hundreds of times. So if I'm going back and forth to my studio here in Massachusetts, or if I'm going on location for products and stuff like that, I want to be able to unlock and lock this all the time. And the hardest part of this right now so far is literally getting the tape off of my lord. And what we're going to do now is we're going to literally press it together, and we're going to go down about 1 inch from the top and lay it over the top. So now we're going to turn it like this. So that's one, and I just put it right across the top right there. I just made a hinge, but we're going to cut it. And I'll show you why you have to cut it, because it's not foldable anymore. If you don't want it to be foldable, just make the hinge and you're good to go. But I want mine, and I need mine foldable. And the benefits of the V-flats that you buy and purchase for $200, they're white on one side, they're black on the other side. So the limitations to the one you do for yourself is there's one color. You can spray paint the other color, but now you're dealing with paint, and that adds another expense, and then it could flake off. I didn't want to do that. So I've got one black and one white, and I'm good with that. So halfway down through the middle, you're going to press those two together again, and then you're going to press on that, and then you're going to do your Velcro third piece one more time. There's my last piece. So let me show you what happens now when you have the two of these together, and then let's do it this way here. So look at the height. Look at the height on that. What I did was I'm going to go back and get my tape, because as you can see right here, we're going to turn this around now. So now we're going to be on the back side of this. And we're going to go back and we're going to take the three pieces of the loop part, or this is actually the hook part. So see the tape is that it's on there? When I folded this together, I put the seams together. So there might be a little bit of a gap inside of there. But again, unless you have light coming through this way here, you won't see that little crease of light in your image. So now what we're going to do is I got to be very careful. I'm only going to cut the bottom two for right now, and that's all I'm doing. Is I'm not doing anything. This is pressed on there. Make sure the hook and loop is on there tight enough. This can press onto here. Oh, missed another part. Nope, that one's stuck. Just make sure it's stuck. That's going to be the most important thing. So what I'm going to do, either pair of scissors, doesn't matter, and I'm going to cut right through that seam part right there, like that. We're going to cut right down that seam like that. I'm not going to cut the top one, because for obvious reasons, this thing's going to fold on me. So now what I'm going to do is going to take my hook. Now you're going to take your hook part and see how the plastic is right there. This is not sticky at all. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press. I'm going to be able to put these two right back here together. See how I just closed that seam up? Now I'm going to take this and pull it across to this side. No stickiness on this. So I'm going to press these two together just like that. Hold that together. And now these two are going to stay right where they are. And now I've got another piece right here. So not sure if you guys can see me. So we're going to do this. We're going to cut myself another piece. Again, leave the sticky part on. This is not sticky. This is not tacky at all. And I'll show you why in a second. So now I got to cut that first. So now we're going to cut this. Okay. Don't stab yourself. And now what I'm going to do, see how that part falls apart just like that? Now watch when I put this together. As long as I put this together in any way, just to close up that gap like that, I'm going to put my hook on that side, pull it tight to the other side, tight to the other side. Now look at that gap. You might see a little bit of the crease, but again, unless you are literally shooting light through this side, you're not going to see it. So now we're going to do this. We're going to turn this back around again. All right. Done. Look at that. Unless you're photographing an NBA player, this is not going to be an issue. So now this can be used for backfill, this can be used for negative space, this can be used for whatever you want. And if you wanted to save some money and not build two, now if you wanted to, you could paint this side and have both sides. But watch this as we unfold it. So now we're going to go back to here like this, okay? So now here we are like this. So I'm going to lose focus for just a second, but watch when I unfold this. I'm going to turn this to the side like this, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Velcro off. See how that's why it's not sticky? I'm going to place it right there to the other side. Pull my Velcro off, stick it to the other side. Pull my Velcro off, stick it to the other side. Now, 1, 2, 3, done. Done. Pick it up, you're walking away. I found that to be so much more easier. It takes effort. Everything in life takes effort. But look at this. Let's just go back to this one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 seconds. It took that much longer to make the thing, but I just saved myself some money. So the black one cost $38 with no tape. The white one cost $28 with tape because I didn't have white duct tape. But look at this. This is it. This is done. So now we're going to fold this back up like this. Again, don't lose your duct tape and don't lose your Velcro. Undo that. Hook and loop it to the other side so you don't lose those pieces. Very important. Open that back up. Fold it down. Just like that. Just like that. Done. Done. So, in this video, I made my white one yesterday. I ended up doing it wrong. Had to cut the tape back off and then put it back on again. Today, I learned from my mistakes. I wanted to show you. And this is it. Look at this. We're going to stand right in front of this. Look at this. Look at this is just awesome. And then flip it back up, put it where you want. Storage will be crucial when it comes to, you just want to make sure either you leave it open and unfolded because you don't want that flimsiness. You don't want to accidentally leave it on the ground, put something underneath it, and you get a big bend in it. So be careful of your storage part of that. So today we learned on how to do all of this stuff. The black one is $38. The white one is $28. You just can't beat I love the philosophy behind the fee flats. I just can't justify the price right now starting off in photography. So, if this video was very helpful to you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that bell for notifications, greatly appreciated. This was a video on a do-it-yourself kind of thing. It maybe took me half an hour to kind of do it. We'll cut this down and splice this down in the video to show you the easiest way to do it, but the fold is the most important part. Keeping this open over here, go back to the beginning of the video. That's the most important part. Remember, the quote of the day is be bigger than your excuses. Remember, smile more, it hurts less. Peace.